Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today, Turning Home Services Expenses into Insights with Coast and Out of the Box. So we will give some folks a minute or two to get signed on. But as we wait, would love to hear where people are calling from. So put in the chat where you're calling from across the country. I'm from Salt Lake, so calling from Salt Lake City, Utah. Mary, where are you based?
Yep, I'm out of Michigan in the Detroit area.
Okay, great. Then we have Angela from New York. It's always fun to kind of see where everyone is calling in from and working. So as okay, a Rhode Island. I hear the weather on the East Coast can't decide if it's spring or winter quite yet. It's supposed to be 80 degrees in Utah, which is like a record for March. So anyways, let's get started. So we're really excited to be with you today, and we really want this webinar not to be so theoretical, but very actionable and something you can have tangible takeaways when you get back to your day to day in the next 30 to 45 minutes. So we want this to be impactful and meaningful. And again, the purpose is how can you improve cash flow and profitability with smarter spend management. In terms of introductions, my name is Christian Rennie. I'm the VP of Sales at Coast. I've spent my entire career in kind of the financial technology space, so and working with small and medium businesses. It's a passion of mine to help improve processes, make controllers, CFOs, owners really look smart with the technology they're using to save time, to save money. So that's a little bit about me. Mary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Everybody, I'm Mary Hunter with Out of the Box Technology. I am a consultant, a trainer. I work in all aspects of the company and I come across clients every single day with real world problems and issues. So, my background is for my entire career financial statement accounting. I'm a former public accountant auditor, and now I've been working in the QuickBooks consulting space for about 18 plus years, working with small and medium sized businesses with all QuickBooks platforms. So I'm anxious to kind of talk to you a little bit further about that, but definitely been in the accounting world a long time and am very invested in your financials.
Great, and it's been wonderful getting to know Mary over the last several weeks. And when I think of expertise, like she is the expert when it comes to accounting and everything related there. So looking forward to learning from her and seeing what we can kind of accomplish together on this webinar. In terms of introductions of our companies, so what is Coast? Coast is a fleet card and expense management platform built specifically for trades, construction, transportation businesses. We serve you and we want to serve you and we build for your businesses. What makes Coast unique is that we're really bringing two worlds together. We're combining Visa credit card with very powerful software on the back end. And what this allows you to do is save both time and money. On average, we save about 10% of a company's fuel bill. We're able to integrate with all sorts of technology from like telematics or fleet management on the front end to QuickBooks on the back end. So your accounting software and really everything in between. And we are the highest rated fleet and fuel card in the US. So we've really elevated what has been a pretty stagnant industry for a long time and made it much more tech forward, much more user friendly and much more intuitive to use. And we started as a fuel card and focused on the fleets. And then over the last few years, more and more of our customers were coming to us with issues of closing their books on time, issues of receipt capture, and not having the control they want with all their credit cards, not just their fuel cards. So we have expanded over the last couple of years to also include the expense management and normal corporate card expenses, which we'll touch on in a lot of detail here. So we've built this platform to not only make your life easier in the back office and on the accounting side, but also the people out in the field that are spending on their cards. So that is what Coast is trying to accomplish each and every day to save you time and money when it comes to all kinds of company spend. And we work obviously really well with out of the box and what they're focused on. But Mary, maybe give us a brief overview of what you're doing
Sure.
out of the box.
Yeah, so out of the box, what do? We do everything and anything related to QuickBooks. So we are a premier QuickBooks solution provider. So, of course, we can offer software, we sell software. We do all different kinds of professional services, such as outsourced accounting. We offer fractional controllership and fractional CFO services. We do data migration. So lots of our clients come to us looking to migrate from older, more stagnant legacy accounting systems, and they want to move into QuickBooks, or we do a lot of migrations from QuickBooks products to another QuickBooks products. We, again, sell software. What I do specifically is I do training and consulting. So a lot of what I see on a daily basis is all different kind of clients coming to me for advice on software, workflows, and a lot of times different products that help make their life easier as a finance team. And again, just what Christian was talking about is how to get cleaner, more accurate financials that are available quickly at month end. And again, a lot of platforms and services that Coast provides fits very well with QuickBooks, all QuickBooks products. But I am always looking at the financial managers and owners who are looking for ways to improve their financials, the reliability, the accuracy, and have better controls over those.
Great, fantastic. So that's a little bit about Mary and I and Coast and out of the box. So let's get into the meat of the presentation. Kick us off, Mary.
Great. So, like I said, I work with many clients in the home services industries, in the trades, landscapers, pool service companies, pest control. In particular, I work with a lot of HVAC, plumbing, roofing, electrical contractors, mechanical, industrial contractors, and many in the construction industry. So it's one of the areas that I really enjoy. I think I specialize in it. I think I'm good at it, and I know a lot about it. I look at their financials all day and every day and help them try and make good decisions, especially the finance team. Many things I see is, how to improve that profitability or that bottom line, not just gross profit, but actually net income. Again, improving sales and revenue is one way, but controlling the costs is a very important way. So the more we can control costs, the more profitable we're going to be. Fuel to many of these clients and industries is a very significant cost, along with materials and, of course, subcontractor costs. Lots and lots of my clients have multiple trucks. They have crews and individuals in trucks all day long, fuel, picking up materials. Many of my clients have crews across the country, so they're not really visible and have direct supervision of those crews. I see a lot of credit card expenses on the balance sheet in terms of the liability, and I'm constantly working with financial managers on how to improve that month-end close. The timing of it. It is overwhelming. It can be cumbersome. I've seen balance sheets with 20 to 50 credit card liabilities on them. I see people hiring temporary employees to help them get credit card expenses entered. Then we get into tracking of the receipts and are the expenses approved? I see a lot of trying to track down receipts, tracking down if the expense was a corporate or approved business expense or was it a personal expense. If it's a personal expense, then I see a lot of deductions from payroll, which causes complexities in the accounting. So the more we can streamline this process, make it seamless, if you will, from the point of purchase to indicate what kind of expense it was and what job it is supposed to be coded to, and then have those expenses in real time helps financial statements get closed easier. And also, we want them more accurate. So, what I constantly see is companies trying to improve the month end close cycle. Many, it takes days, months, weeks. I see many companies that don't close a year, and they still haven't done the credit cards for June, July, and August. So lots of catch up bookkeeping. We help with that. But if it's all done at the client level, ownership is not really getting good visibility on what the financials are really telling them, and if we have a problem with spend and budgets and controllable costs. So I see that on a daily basis. I see a lot of businesses out there trying to improve their month end close. Many of mine who are trying to close by the 15th of the month are now achieving closes by the 7th of the month, which is dramatic. Owners, stakeholders can have those financials in front of them very quickly, which makes decision making much more effective and informed.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mary. And that transitions nicely into this. I think Mary did a wonderful job of kind of the repercussions of what happens when we are not organized with how we're spending. And if you don't have the right tools and technology in place, like, yes, it makes sense. Like there's a reason all that kind of gets pushed and delayed in that process. And one of those reasons is there are a lot of moving parts with your company and the people out in the field and different priorities that they have to worry about day to day. Not only do you have customers and the customer experience, you're dealing with inventory, your vehicles and maintenance on your vehicles, technicians, other payments. There's so many moving parts. And our goal is how can we help simplify that and make it more streamlined on both the the employee as well as the back office. And what this fragmentation leads to, Mary touched on a lot of these, but wanted to really focus on these four areas. First, wasted spend. As an owner, unless you have the visibility and controls, you don't know what's happening with your money. You might know months later, but you need to know in real time where spend is being wasted and what you can do to capitalize and minimize that waste. Second is the lack of control. There there are horror stories. Mary brought up one where 20 different credit cards or hiring someone to bring on a credit card. We hear those stories every day of card sharing is a big one that happens every day at a lot of companies, and the lack of control and visibility there is detrimental to really owning your financials and having that confidence that you are operating in the most efficient way possible. The third is lack of visibility. We want you to have that real-time visibility into all the expenses that are happening at that time. No surprises a couple weeks into the next month, no surprises even months later. Then all this compounds to the fourth of messy operations. Again, you have so many moving parts, you're wearing so many different hats. I'm always impressed when I talk to, it doesn't matter what type of role people have in the home services. They're wearing multiple hats, and we want to streamline and make operations much more organized. And what that looks like with Coast, we like to call it smarter spend management. So I'm going to talk through kind of these three areas. The way I want you to frame it is the first is what happens before you swipe a card. The second point, the auto enforced controls, is what happens during or immediately after the swipe of your credit card. And the third, review and approve, is what happens at kind of month end, or however you want to set that up. I'll walk through that a little bit. But this is where we really want you to understand what could this process look like and with the right technology. So first, define your rules. Before anyone is able to spend within Coast, you're able to set up limits, who can spend, and where they can spend. We work with a lot of, Mary brought up landscaping. We work with a lot of landscaping crews where certain members of the crew are only allowed to spend at a gas station buying fuel. We work with others where maybe their crews have expanded responsibility and are able to buy fuel plus go to Home Depot or Lowe's and spend there. And if they spend anywhere else, it gets declined. And you can do that with each level within your company. Again, most owners don't have any rules. Good if you tell me if that's good or bad. And this is also where you can require what information employees must submit. So QuickBooks is obviously a big part of Coast and out of the box technologies. And this is where we integrate with QuickBooks. So you can pull in everything you need from QuickBooks and require different fields to be filled out by the people that are spending. So the goal is before a card is swiped, you can have that control and that visibility for the program and for the spending. The second piece, auto enforce controls. So this is what happens when people are live out in the field. So I talked about those crews. If they went and tried to purchase lunch, or if they went to the gas station, tried to purchase Red Bull, depending on the policy, that would auto decline. So you don't have to worry about card sharing, because a lot of reasons people do the card sharing is they want that kind of imagined control over the card. But with Coast, you're able to set that up right away and decline as it's happening. And then where it gets really powerful is the second the card is swiped, doesn't matter where or when, the end user is immediately getting a text message, or we also have a mobile app saying, I saw you spend at Shell, you need to categorize this expense. Or if you're taking someone to lunch, hey, I saw you spent at whatever restaurant, you need to categorize this and include a receipt. So right there in the drop down, you can text them whatever the drop code was. You can set up a drop down to select the drop code. You're capturing the receipt picture in real time. So no more stacks of receipts with coffee stains and all crumpled up. Like, that is completely eliminated. So at point of transaction, everything is collected. And it really is, if you haven't used a technology like this, it's a complete game changer. Whether you're traveling or making purchases in the back office, completely streamlines everything, so it's much more organized when you're putting your financials together at the end of the month. Then the last, review and approve. So we've gone through this, and I hope you've been able to see the controls you can set up before anyone spends, but we also want eyes on transactions as they come through. So you can set up a hierarchy of, hey, I want my owner to review all transactions over $50, let's say. You have that level of granularity if you want it to have those transactions reviewed. The beauty of Coast is you can make it as tight of controls as you want, or you can make it as loose as you want. And it really depends on the company culture and what you're trying to solve for. We have a fantastic onboarding team that will kind of walk you through what that looks like. And then you are also able to approve or decline requests in real time. So we have a capability that someone would have to submit a request to spend. So essentially, they have a piece of plastic. There's no spending power on it. and they would need to submit, hey, I'm going to Home Depot to buy this, this, and this. I need $300. And you can approve that in real time as well. And then, of course, where it gets really impactful is the sync with QuickBooks on the back end and having everything, again, all that data, all those receipts automatically coming over through to QuickBooks. So that's really the process of working and setting up with Coast and incorporating this tech forward approach when it comes to credit cards and expense management.
Yep, I love that tech forward because that's a big focus in our company and in many companies I talk to today is working with technology. What is new technology? How to make technology better improve our capabilities in terms of the accounting and finance departments. So I think that leans well into kind of what the future is looking like. Um, right now, many of us are in the manual receipt chasing, and that is a big, cumbersome burden on the finance team. Tracking down receipts, making sure they're approved. What job does the receipt belong to? I talk about that all day. Communication between the purchaser and the finance team. This kind of eliminates that need to keep chasing down that information that sometimes gets lacking. The at the time of purchase or at the point of sale, capturing the receipt, capturing the important vital information that the finance team needs is critical and is a huge benefit with Coast. Month-end reconciliation scramble. Scramble is a good word for it, and delays. Many delays in credit card expense entering to make sure that expenses are approved. Many companies don't enter anything till they have all the receipts and the approvals, which is a good policy, but that really can cause some delays in closing month end. Coast is going to help eliminate that and facilitate quick, smooth, easier reconciliations in real time. There should be no waiting for receipts, turning in of jobs, etc., asking employees out in the field. I see all kinds of things. Texting from employees to submit receipts. Give what job is it? Back and forth. That is a never-ending delay in month-end closes. Guessing at job costs. Job costs in my world, most of my clients need accurate job costing at purchases for jobs, both fuel, materials, etc., out in the field. If that is not communicated easily and quickly to the finance team, again, we don't have accurate financials, and those who are looking at job cost reports don't have good job costing trackability. So, not only the financial accounting, but both the job cost reports are very important to have real-time information. That's what everybody who is tracking is looking for. It's going to make more accurate and more up-to-date current job reports. Reactive decision making. So more often than not, I am analyzing clients' financial statements this month versus last month, this quarter versus last quarter, variation analysis. A lot of times I will be looking at these larger cost categories like fuel, job materials, etc., trying to understand and actually have the client explain why we have large variations in certain costs. And sometimes they don't know, right? They don't know because things may not have been approved. Individuals in the field might not have budgets. The controls over who can spend, where they can spend, and what they can spend on is critical. I love that aspect of Coast to give the business owner, the operations, a way to set those limits at an individual level, at a vehicle level, at a card level, and have it flexible. So certain individuals have a little bit more leeway than others. I think that's great tracking and great budgeting, and to really know where we are spending those dollars in real time, not waiting till month end, quarter end. And quite frankly, in my case, I see a lot of people looking at it at year end, which is very, very late in terms of trying to make changes and understanding why we're more profitable in a certain period than in another. So proactive decision making is the best decision making.
Great.
In terms of profitability, right, controlling those costs is a great way to improve your bottom line. We can try and increase sales and revenue all day long, but improving expense capture, expense tracking, and budgeting what our true expenses are and understanding those is the best way to improve the bottom line. Again, always looking at job costing. Job costing is a passion of mine. Fuel is one of those costs that's very significant, and materials. Crew accountability. A lot of companies compensate jobs and employees on crews in terms of their profitability and results on jobs and job performance. Fuel and the receipt capturing in real-time information going into those job reports is very, very helpful and very valuable. Again, scaling across locations. So as businesses grow, and territories expand, we have less control from a financial accounting or home office space. So as companies grow and locations expand, controls with Coast is even more valuable. Again, as a financial accountant, business owners, reviewers of financials, both internal and external stakeholders, are going to have more confidence in the financial reports that we're producing because, one, we're going to have more accurate information from those spends and more accurate jobs and controls and limitations on who's buying what. Better and more accurate financials are going to enable everyone to make more informed decisions. And in terms of accountability and efficiency, I look at also as the finance team is going to be much more efficient in terms of being able to focus on month-end close quicker and more accurately, and then free up some of that finance time to focus on different things later on in the month. So I think it's a win-win for both the financial statements, the finance team and accounting team that I'm directly involved in, and the controls in terms of who's spending what.
Great. Thank you, Mary. And I hope through this whole presentation you've felt how much Coast Out of the Box is focused on making sure you are doing the most impactful strategic work and not being in that reactive state where you're you're not confident in knowing where your financials are coming in, especially the expense side of things. You're not having to, I always like to say, make the software be the bad guy. It is not your favorite part of the job on Friday afternoon of, oh geez, I got to call Joe again to capture the receipts, or don't have my job code on these 10 transactions. I need to follow up again and again and again. Like you're too valuable to your company to be doing those type of tasks. So let the software do that. Let Coast do that, and which will allow you to have these strategic, forward-thinking conversations and meetings to really propel your business forward. And we did just have a chat come through, which we can talk about. Thank you, Cassie. The question is, what's the biggest mistake you see trade businesses make with their finances? Maybe Mary, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean that's a big question, but I see a common and not so much a mistake, but I see a common tendency of manually entering credit card transactions, not having all of the information to get those entered in real time, and sometimes in many cases doing a high level summary of those costs and not really knowing who's spending what or what each individual or each truck or each job site is spending. So not knowing the costs based on a certain job, And quite frankly, the delays in entering credit card charges and reconciling. So the manual time and attention it takes to enter credit card charges can be very cumbersome. Again, in not having full information, I see a lot of tracking down, finding receipts, figuring out what jobs the costs were for well after the fact. And then we may have that information, but the cumbersome task of entering all that also delays month end close. So that's probably one of the biggest ones I would say I see as not doing a true, pure month end close, having solid financials to look at and analyze at month end is probably one of the biggest things I could say many businesses need to improve upon. And many clients come to me, and one of the first things I ask them is, are your financial statements accurate? When you look at your financials, do you understand them and are they accurate? And you would be surprised, a majority of them say no, they're not. They come to us to help them get better financials.
No, thank you. And I'll add my 2 cents on this one. I think not many people think of their corporate cards or fuel cards of needing a strategy or a game plan. And when that's the case, there's a world where there's an Amex card, there's a Wex card, there's a Capital One, there's some reimbursements that are happening, and there isn't a cohesive strategy behind that. But if you are able to come together as a company and focus on a specific direction you want to go with your corporate cards and with your spend, that allows you to have tighter controls and kind of everything we've discussed, which works has that downflow effect on your financials as well. So thank you for that. And then in closing, I hope you've found a lot of value here. We'll have some time for some further questions, but Coast is the solution if you are needing to put more controls, continue to capture receipts, and have everything flow seamlessly into QuickBooks, so you can have the actionable insight from out of the box. Coast is the answer. Like I started this webinar off, we build for the home services industry, for the trades. There are other credit cards out there that kind of, it's a one size fits all. And when you go that direction, you're not getting the level of integration, the level of expertise. We know how important job codes are. We integrate with different systems to allow those to flow through in the best way possible. So if you are looking for that, that's where Coast comes in. And then obviously the partnership with Out of the Box has been great, and we've been able to help a lot of clients together. Any closing remarks from you, Mary?
I agree. One of the things, I agree with all of that. And I think we as a company are, our mainstay is passionate about clients, helping clients and whatever that may be in terms of financials, tools that help them. I always say work smarter, not harder. Technology is improving, and this is a great example of that. I teach and train people every day how to do the right accounting. I love the fact that, this system can kind of automate some of that. We don't have to guess, or someone entering the credit card charges doesn't have to do a lot of guessing. Things are set up ahead of time so that expenses are entered into the right account. If a job is required, it's going to be required. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And so we're going to spend less time looking for mistakes and looking for mispostings versus just analyzing what the true numbers are. So I think, as Christian said, it's not just a tool. We're looking to kind of broadly change our workflow, right? So that we get more information upfront in terms of our workflow versus waiting till after the fact when we get a statement.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mary. And we will leave. We'll hang out for a little bit and do some Q&A. So if there are any questions on related to what we went over, please put it in the chat. So we have one from Angela. I can answer this first, but what size business is a good fit for Coast or out of the box? So with Coast, really we work with businesses of all sizes. We have a number of customers right around the million to 5 million in revenue, or if you want to look at fleet size, like there's different ways we can look at it, but we are able to serve customers of all size. And the obviously there's different problems as companies grow and as companies expand. So we have different teams that are specialized based off revenue band or where your company is. So we're very confident we can serve you no matter your size, and no matter if you're just getting started or if you've been around 20, 30 years, like we'd be able to serve you. Mary, any insights there and out of the box?
Yeah, out of the box, we work with just everybody from new entrepreneurs starting a business for the very first time to um, yesterday, I was working with a business owner who's been in business 20 years and is making a change and moving into QuickBooks. So, I love business. So, no matter what size or shape or industry or challenges you have, we hope to be able to help you. We offer a lot of different services. Could be some consulting on your financials, could be some training for your staff. Again, could be monthly services like bookkeeping or controllership or a migration. So don't be afraid to reach out to us because everyone needs something a little bit different, and we're very open to anything and everything and find the right person on our team that can help you the best.
Great. And one more came in from from Angela. Thank you, Angela, for the questions. How long does it usually take to actually see a difference after cleaning up your expense process? I'd be curious to have you answer that first on more the back end.
Yeah, I would say, and again, I'm going to let you, Christian, talk about how long. I'm curious about how long does it take to implement with Coast, but
Hmm.
once we're implemented, I would say within a month, okay? Because if we're trying to track down, record things, slowness of close, maybe uncontrolled expenses, once you go to a system that has some controls, that has more real time, I would say you're going to see some differences pretty quickly, like within a month and through that first cycle of your credit card. So I would expect the results in the financials to come through pretty quickly.
That's great. And in terms of Coast onboarding, it's pretty streamlined. So there is a credit application. Obviously, with any credit card, you need a credit line to spend against. So that application takes 5 to 10 minutes. There might be some dot collection that we need, which is normal for a corporate line of credit. And then once we're approved, the onboarding, we really go at your pace and recommend that we you'll have that onboarding specialist that I mentioned earlier, and usually it's about a 45-minute call with them where they'll set up those policies that we discussed to know, okay, where can these employees spend, where can these employees spend. We'll order the cards, we'll overnight those cards to you. So if you're using it for fuel, you can get them in the trucks. And usually it's a 1 to 2 week process to go through all of that. If the company is committed to let's do this, let's start seeing that change, it can be 1 to 2 weeks, which again, based off Mary's kind of 1 month, you can see results in a 6 week time frame. You could implement Coast, immediately see those savings on the expenses, and start getting that time and money savings back to your company. Okay, let's give it just last opportunity to put a question in the chat. Looks like we might be done with the Q&A. Again, thank you so much for those questions. in closing, wanted to kind of put this slide out there, whether you're listening to this live or you'll listen on the recording. Would love to connect with you. If you're interested in learning more about Out of the Box, drop box in the chat. Then if you're interested in learning more about Coast, drop Coast in the chat. And I will say we will send a recording out to those that registered. So please watch it. You can go back to specific parts of the presentation, and then we would love to connect and see how we can help your business. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you so much for your expertise. Mary, I hope everyone found this to be beneficial.
Agreed. Agreed. Thank you, Christian.